Last summer, the Los Angeles Clippers had a choice to make. With Kawhi Leonard extended and James Harden willing to return for less than the max, they could have re-signed Paul George and tried to win with a three-star model, or let George walk and attempt to replace him in the aggregate with the money they'd otherwise earmarked for him. Star power or depth? That is the choice that the 2023 CBA was supposed to force teams to make. And yet, a year later, the Clippers have wound up with both. When George left, the Clippers used the financial flexibility his absence generated to add Derrick Jones Jr., Chris Dunn, and Nick Batum last summer. That still left them with enough financial flexibility to sign Brook Lopez and trade for John Collins this summer. They had effectively turned two good players, George and Norm Powell, into five. Depth achieved. And then the Suns bought out Bradley Beal. On paper, Beal and George are at somewhat similar points in their careers. They are both former All-Stars that have seemingly aged out of their prime. George is likely the better player today simply by virtue of his size and defensive versatility. But last season, both of them fell into the rapidly expanding pool of players that this collective bargaining agreement has created. While still valuable on the court, both are albatrosses in terms of overall team building. It may no longer be possible to build a competitive team that pays George or Beal $50 million. But the Clippers aren't paying Beal $50 million. They're paying him $5 million. The Suns are paying the rest of his salary through a buyout. While doing so was likely not a prudent long-term decision, it was one they felt they had to make, staring down both the aprons and the repeater tax. The Suns were far above the aprons with Beal on their roster. However, by dumping him with the waive and stretch provision, they've managed to get below the luxury tax line entirely as they try to reload around Devin Booker. They'll pay for that down the line. He will now cost around $19 million for the next 5 seasons instead of over $50 million for the next 2. But with no other obvious way of saving short-term money, they decided to take the plunge.